Here's a quick overview for you of Act 1 from Much Ado. Take some time to look at the graphic organizer I attached to Google Classroom for you. This character chart should be really helpful. In Scene 1, a messenger comes to Leonardo's house to say that Don Pedro, called Prince, and his company will soon arrive at the governor's home. He states that few were injured and that Claudio was considered the hero of the battle. Don Pedro arrives in Messina with Claudio, Benedict, his half-brother Don John, and their company. Everyone has met before, but they haven't seen each other in a long time. With the battle now behind them, Claudio falls immediately in love with Hero upon seeing her. We learn that Beatrice and Benedict cannot seem to communicate without arguing with one another, as they have a love-hate relationship. Both are witty, and they go back and forth dissing each other. Claudio confesses his love of Hero to Benedict, who thinks it is crazy, and Don Pedro, who agrees to woo Hero on Claudio's behalf, and to consult her father Leonardo about a possible marriage. Claudio is grateful and overjoyed. In Scene 2, Antonio tells his brother Leonardo that his servant overheard Don Pedro telling Claudio that he plans to woo Hero at the masked ball that night. The servant clearly didn't understand that Don Pedro was planning to woo Hero on behalf of Claudio because Claudio is the one who would like to marry Hero. Ooh. Missing this piece of information, but loving his daughter, Leonardo decides to tell Hero that Don Pedro loves her. He hopes to spare her surprise later and allow her to answer more quickly should he propose. In Scene 3, Don John's attendant Conrad meets with Don John, who is upset, which is normal for him. Conrad tells him he should be happy since he recently reconciled with his brother Don Pedro, but Don John says he is a plain-dealing villain and doesn't care if people like him. He feels that his brother has him muzzled, so he cannot bite. Then Baraccio enters and tells Don John that Claudio intends to marry Hero. He overheard correctly while eavesdropping. Don John says, "If I can cross him in any way, I bless myself in every way." So we can see that he plans to cause mischief for his brother and presumably also for Claudio. So we're going to work with 3 themes in this play. And I'm going to present them as just topics today, and we'll work them into complete statements of truth as we see how these play out. But for today, a quick introduction. One of the themes we see in this play is deception. And in Much Ado About Nothing, deception is used for both positive and negative reasons. It appears to be neither completely right nor completely wrong. A second theme that we see in Much Ado About Nothing is the idea of noting. The title, Much Ado About Nothing, would have been pronounced more like noting back in Elizabethan English. And noting could mean a few things. It could mean to take note of or to acknowledge, and that has to do with reputation. So they cared a lot about their reputation and people making note of them and what they thought of them. But it also has to do with noting something and eavesdropping and coming up with an idea. And we see lots of eavesdropping in this play also. And then the third theme that we're going to talk about is this idea of star-crossed lovers. So the phrase star-crossed lovers actually first appeared in Shakespeare's play Romeo and Juliet, which was a tragedy, and there it was used to describe a pair of lovers who were doomed from the beginning of their relationship. The term star-crossed lovers is now used generally to describe any couple whose love is threatened really by any influence. In Much Ado About Nothing, Benedict and Beatrice appear to be star-crossed because they have this love-hate relationship where they appear to dislike one another at the beginning of the play. And then Claudio and Hero begin their relationship fairly well, but Don John's scheming places that love in jeopardy. So both couples could be considered star-crossed lovers. We see each of these themes in Act 1. First, deception. Don Pedro says that he will woo Hero while pretending to be Claudio, which is deceiving her, although he's trying to be a good friend. Second, Noting, we see several people eavesdrop in Act 1. Both Borachio and Antonio's servant eavesdrop on Don Pedro and Claudio, while Antonio's servant misnotes what they're discussing and believes that Don Pedro is in love with Hero. Borachio correctly notes that Don Pedro is going to woo Hero on Claudio's behalf. Third, star-crossed lovers, we see clearly that Benedict and Beatrice, while interested in each other and in some ways drawn to one another, can't communicate effectively and are so mean to each other.